Hola.
Hello.
I feel like the focus is not good. Is it good? We good to go?
I think we're good.
Hey, we're back. We're doing a virtual tasting once again. We do them here in person in Old North State Winery in the Barrel Room on Thursday nights. For those of you that can't be here, we didn't want you to miss out, so we're going to taste a couple of wines with you. Hopefully you were able to come by and pick up the tasting kit that Chef Chris provides every week, and we're going to talk about those as we taste the wines. Chef Chris has not had these wines. That's part of the fun here. Get his natural reaction and see how he pairs things together. And well, as your sommelier, Chef, I shall start the pouring, and we're going to start off in the Langhe of Italy. The Langhe is a very important region. Some might say the most important region. That someone would be me. All right, so this is a beautiful, kind of a well, probably more than semi-famous producer, Baudana, which has been, I would say, acquired to carry on the tradition of their winemaking by Vara, which is Chef Chris's, one of his favorite Barolos. They're such a huge influence of the Langhe. They're doing so many great things there, but the reputation of this winery comes from decades past of red and whites, of course. This is Nascetta. It's a white that was almost extinct, and here it is blended with a little bit of Chardonnay and Sauvignon Blanc. The grape was kind of left by the wayside a little bit, almost kind of left to go unnoticed because it was very unpredictable, didn't have predictable yields. So, one year you might have a banner, crop, and the next year you don't. So it's really hard to have a wine program with that kind of unpredictability. And for the most part, it wasn't one of the most memorable flavor profiles. It has more aromatics, I would say, than it does flavor impact. So, but here you have a great producer that's trying to keep the varietal alive and well and kicking, and using it as a blending grape. There's so many blending grapes, Chef, that have been mainstays in vineyards, but we don't really hear much about them, and they're not in danger of going extinct. So I think the key here is, finding a way to utilize this grape. I'm not saying you can't do it as a single varietal, because there are certainly some out there trying and succeeding, but I do like the idea of using it as a blender as well.
Well, and blending is such a great thing to do regardless. And boy, though, it seems like the Italians are really leading the way and saving, bringing back,
well, they have
ancient grapes and certainly things that are inherent to the region. Mm-hmm. It just seems like everywhere you turn,
sure,
the Italians are doing that. I think that's
I guess that big, when we're doing Lake Garda wines, the Turbiano, that they're really trying to push and save them. So this, to me, has just a kind of a worldly flavor, I would say. It reminds you a little bit of Southern Rhone. It reminds you a little bit of white Bordeaux. It's really something that's, I think,
it could pass for Rousson.
Right.
It's
it's got some things in there that I think most white drinkers are going to be looking for. There's fruit, there's florality, and I get just the textural component here, which, I'm one of those people that's always talking about the texture of a wine. I feel like this one has a great texture profile. I don't want to say it's grippy, because we're not really going to talk about tannins in a white wine, but there's a textural component there that I really like. I mean, some people might say waxy.
I think it's the honey. It's got such a pronounced honey to it. Like honey kind of sticks, and so maybe it's a mental thing where you get that little light caramel honey place on your palate, and your brain's thinking of the coating of that.
Sure. So definitely tropical fruit here. I would even say maybe some vegetality, some greenery. I would not be if someone said they tasted like some cucumber skin or something in this, I would definitely agree. I don't know that everybody's going to get that, but there's certainly a refreshment factor here.
It's like, we're always juicing things,
like
pureeing. So you're getting that parsley, celery, cucumber thing when you're pureeing something. Just the aromatics, even without the flavor.
Yeah, that's called chef life. So, oh, by the way, I want to thank you again for letting me cook side by side with you last night.
We've been doing a lot of that.
That's a lot of fun.
I love it. I love it.
As Logan's out taking his summer vacation, I get to dabble in the kitchen a little bit more.
Well, and you've got a few more coming up this weekend.
I'm excited about it.
It's going to be great.
Well, Chef, so we've got a classic vineyard. I want to make just a note, like, just these two bottles we have, the art's fantastic. I know we don't really care too much about that, but that's really good looking bottles.
Well, and I've got to say, this is my kind of dragon.
Yeah.
I think dragons get a bad rap. They're misunderstood. Well, this one is very whimsical and beautiful, and it is, and it's aerial, and I love the representation of that dragon. It seems more like an animal you would find in a garden rather than in a cave.
Well, Vara, all of their labels have beautiful art on them. This one is from a local artist who's, I think he's passed away years ago, but his legacy lives on. A lot of wine labels end up with his art because he was really into nature. I mean, I guess you could say dragons nature if they were real. But
they're still prevalent in society. I mean, you see them all in the Far East. Dragons are a part of.
Makes you wonder if they really did exist.
A huge part of all their ceremonies and celebrations, and of course, with all the hype. Good Lord, the whole world went nuts over Game of Thrones, which was centered around dragons. Yeah. So I think dragons have never been more. But I love this representation. This to me seems like something that existed. Right. Rather than something that someone created in their mind. Right.
This artist, Gallo, was a nature artist, so he does a lot of flowers and stuff like that. You see that a lot on the Vinyes, like the ones that I got for you. They have those beautiful floral pictures, and so it's really cool that his legacy. I'm assuming that he's cool with that. That it's with wine now. His art is really associated with different wine labels. That's cool.
Wine is art, so they belong together.
Yeah, and then of course this beautiful, Spanish. That is really, really cool.
Awesome.
I mean, to me, this is the kind of art that really pops when you're, you're walking down the aisle or whatever. It'll get you to open the bottle, but at the end of the day, what's in it is what matters. And I was actually Andy from, he was bringing in our South African wines this morning. We were talking about they're having a glass issue in South Africa. And there's this one particular wine that's noted for a certain wax coating on it. And it's just almost impossible for them to get the bottles to do that with. And I'm like, Andy, people love that wine. They don't need to market it anymore. I mean, they've already got a built-in clientele. No one's going to care that the bottle.
No, they're not.
But it definitely got people to try the wine. But at the end of the day, what's in the glass? And I would say that every Vieti wine that they represent is fantastic. And there's another great example.
Well, and this is, you see some wines where the artwork is catchy, but it has nothing to do with the wine itself. Mm-hmm. So I love how this artwork is a story associated with the wine, or the area, or what the owners or winemakers are interested in. Yep. Instead of it just being like Photoshop art, just to make it catchy. But these have meaning and a story behind it, which makes it special.
Yeah, absolutely. A renowned artist in the Longue, and me personally, just coming back from the Longue region, it's very much has its own identity. I would say it's very rural, outside of a couple of, good, I wouldn't say they're massive cities, but places like Alba, there is some urban parts, but for the most part it is rural. And I think that having artists that kind of reflect the lay of the land, they're not just what's going on in their brain artistically and imaginatively, but to get a sense of place in their art, which I think is just another level of how talented this guy was.
Absolutely.
But anyway, his legacy lives on through the label, and the wine that we got drawn in by the dragon. Now we're enjoying it in the glass. Chef, do you need another taste to think about what you're going to have?
I do, yes.
Because now it's
I can't be half-stepping. I could give it a thank you.
It's time to talk
full
about
measure.
what kind of food you might be pairing with this.
Well, we got in some beautiful black drum today, and I'm really excited about it. It's not something we do a lot. Black drum is great fish in the same species as speckled trout and redfish.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a great family of fish. Although it's not as you don't see it as much, but you should. Very popular in Louisiana.
Oh yeah,
redfish, drum,
the Gulf.
the Gulf. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to do a good hard sear, a little spice sear on that, and good citrus emulsion with this.
The citrus. Yeah, I didn't mention the citrus in here. I should have, because it is definitely prevalent. I think that would be
Delicious.
something that would draw out. To me, it's almost citrus oil, though.
Yes. Oh, absolutely. The white, the pith.
Oh, no, like the oils, like what makes the skin so
waxy,
aromatic, and
when you're rubbing it, on the thing, it literally coats your fingers.
Right, and I feel like that's happening with my palate.
Absolutely, that's a great way to describe it.
When I think of with the pithy, I think more bitter.
And
I don't think
true.
I don't think that.
I guess I was thinking about when you're pulling it off.
Right.
All the oils.
Yes.
When you're bounced up, when you're zesting it or grating it.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And usually you get some white in there, but no, absolutely. So I think that citrus, that fatty citrus with the drum is going to be great with this.
Beautiful. So hopefully y'all are enjoying that alongside here. Remember, wine complements food, and food complements wine. It's a great relationship. It's a marriage made in heaven.
It certainly is, and they're both great on their own, but they peak when they're combined. Yeah.
Wow.
Summertime, all day long. I mean,
that is, it's everything you want it to be.
It doesn't, I don't want to put it as a number, but it doesn't really have a flaw.
It's really,
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
When you're looking for an Italian summertime white, it's not. It has enough complexity to be interesting, but it's not so complex you can't be like, let's have it all day outside with the friends and snacks and things. So
and under $25.
Yeah, but it's certainly elegant enough for anything you wanted to pair with it. The style of your occasion, but
yep.
Great summertime.
I would recommend that with just about anything under the sun that a white wine would enjoy, particularly cheeses, fish, shellfish.
And it could easily. I still think it could handle pasta.
Absolutely.
It can handle the scampi. Yep, an herb, like fresh herbs, butter. Thank you. Pork. It would handle grilled pork quite well if you didn't go barbecue. If you're doing a lighter pork, would be great with that. Maybe even Asian pork.
Sure.
Yeah,
definitely. I can definitely see that kind of. I guess Chinese tends to be a little bit saltier. And I think that would also benefit from that as well.
Absolutely.
So we get that umami thing going. All right, so we are going to head to the other side of the planet. We're going to head down to Mendoza, Argentina. This is Vinyes Ocults. This is somewhat new to us in terms of, we've just started experiencing this particular wine. It is what some people would call a garage wine, is how it started. You think about The Prisoner. You make the winemaker makes a relationship with farmers. He gets the grapes. He makes the wine with the grapes, and he doesn't necessarily have his own winery or even vineyards. And it's a hard thing to do, by the way. I just want to be very clear. I wouldn't quit your day job and go.
No, and they're great stories, but woo.
Yeah, and
blending wine is not for. It's not fun.
Yeah,
it's very difficult work. It's challenging, and once you've done it, you've committed. You've got a lot of years of nervousness.
Yeah.
To know how it's going to change in the bottle and how it's going to interact.
Not to mention that, you got to trust and have a great, strong relationship with who you're buying from, because if you don't own the vineyards, you can't force them to sell it to you. So
you're hoping they'll keep that handshake.
Yeah, that's an important relationship. Tomas Staringer is the guy behind this, and this is what I would call extremely new world. It would be, I would
certainly on the nose.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we're definitely going to have oak influence here. Typical Malbec color. Of course, Malbec being the most famous red from Argentina, and this happens to be the 2019. So we're doing this video in 2023. So this has a little bit of age on it. Not in terms of like a Barolo or something like that, but in terms of, an Argentinian kind of entry-level type Malbec. You usually see them on the market within 2 years,
Mm-hmm.
So you're probably more apt to be drinking a 2021 at this point, maybe even a 2022, because remember they do they're harvesting in February because we're south of the equator. So they get they can get their vintages out to us a little quicker than we do here in the northern hemisphere. So with that being said, let's dive in here, and I already know what it tastes like, but I want to keep drinking it. So
I'm really on a big Malbec kick right now.
Well,
so that's really what I've been drinking lately. I've been buying Malbecs, and I'm just feeling the Malbec right now.
Yeah,
I go in cycles like most people do, and
it's a great summertime, right?
It is a great summer. It's not too tannicky,
Yeah,
but still full flavored.
So,
but I'm really on my Malbec.
Yeah, so this is right in where you want it to be. It has those dark fruits, blueberries, blackberries, plum. I even get a little bit of pimento in here, a little bit of just maybe a sprinkling of cayenne, and then there's certainly some underlying vanilla. It is a fruit concentrated flavor profile, just like you would expect. Just enough tannins at the end to make it interesting, to keep it from being just a fruit bomb.
Yeah, and it's very creamy. The mallow on this is still present. It's showing out well. You're getting a very creamy flavor that helps tone down the big fruit. Yep. So it's not jammy at all, even though the fruit is bright.
Yes.
A lot of anise on the nose, almost like a bitter chocolate
on the nose.
Yeah. And it's just delicious, and it's very lush. It's a very lush wine.
Absolutely, yeah. This is a fruit cocktail of sorts, and that's really what the ease of understanding of South American Malbec is really what skyrocketed its sales in the United States with a country that's learning wine and trying to get into wine. These are the kind of wines that like people go, ooh, I can get behind this because it's fruit driven. It's not sweet. I just want to be clear. It's fruity, and just as we talked about honey notes in this Bar Dragon, there's no sweetness there, but there's flavors that represent these.
Honeysuckle may be a better term. Yeah. But it does. Your brain, triggers these emotions on your palate, on your senses, when it picks up on something that's familiar.
Right. Absolutely. It's all about association. Mm-hmm. So that's the big thing about wine is the more things other than wine, like vegetation, fruits and vegetables, meats, animals, rocks, the more of those you smell and, believe it or not, taste, the more you'll be able to identify those things in your wine. And because you don't know what you don't know.
You don't know what you don't know. That's why you have to. It can't be theory. You have to do the drinking.
That's right.
You got to put in the work.
We're pulling for you. We're doing our part by introducing you to all these wines. Now you need to do your part by tasting and smelling more flowers, more vegetables, more meats, more everything.
More
really.
everything.
Seashells, sand, I mean, plastics, rubbers. I mean, there's so many wines out there that have those compounds that resemble those. And it is really fun when you drink a wine and it reminds you of we had a Riesling recently that reminded me so much of this blow up, don't say doll, because that's not what I was going to say.
If you say so.
It was a 2-man blow up boat. And me and my cousin Thomas would, when we were up on Lake Ontario, we'd have to pump that thing up. And that rubbery kind of plastic vinyl smell as we spent,
squeaky.
And we it took like an hour we were 2 little tots trying to get this thing blown up so we could spend the summer floating around on it and causing terror for all the other kids. But that wine triggered a memory of younger days. And there's certainly times where you'll get grass and it reminds me of
all the time. Mowing the yard, or
sure,
when you're younger, just rolling around in the grass.
Sure, yeah. And now you can't do it because you're too itchy and scratchy.
Well, people they'll call the police. So there's some grown man rolling around in the grass. He's having an episode.
No, you weren't rolling around. You were passed out. That was a different story.
Be that as it may. The memory's the same.
The memory's the same. No, but that's important for you guys out there to smell and taste more things, so that you can smell and taste more things in your wine, because it's in there. You just gotta know that it's there
and be open to it. I think that when you're drinking wine, to not approach it, not every time, but when you're first getting into the first pour and you're approaching, open your mind to all these things instead of like, I need a drink.
Yeah.
And you can still do that, but when at the beginning, open your mind to the sense and the smell and the weight and the feeling and your memories and have that connection with your wine before you polish it up.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's important.
Totally agree. Well, Chef, we've got this beautiful wine. It's got some decent alcohol in it, even though you wouldn't really.
It doesn't.
You wouldn't
it's
know
not drinking like it.
Yeah, it doesn't really burn, but it does. It's got some alcohol. Bam. I'm getting a lot more red fruit on the nose. I love it. It's great. What do you think about?
It's the red is showing out now.
Yeah, it was very dark, and now it's getting. There's a lot of fruit here. I'm telling you, there's a lot of layers. So, what is what is your idea for what to pair with this?
Well, we're gonna have a little duet with this. So, we've got this beautiful salami that we're featuring tonight. It's from the Spotted Trotter.
Spotted Trotter.
And this is a place in Atlanta that's really just specializes in charcuterie. They use Porter Road pork exclusively. Very beautiful breed of pork, and they're doing several different varieties. But tonight we're gonna do the black pepper and sorghum salami.
Sorghum's so Georgia, isn't it?
It's so Georgia. It's such a southern thing, and,
Yeah.
and that's kind of their stick. They're celebrating even though obviously salami is a very Italian,
Sure.
French and Italian tradition. They're celebrating the terroir and the ingredients of the United States and of Atlanta, and so they're making these, traditionally European style things with very American ingredients. I love it, and I want to support it. Beautiful fat on this. This is not processed. I mean, you're seeing these huge chunks of pepper and fat interspersed with this salami. So, you're going to get that creaminess from the fat of the salumi, which I'm getting a lot of creaminess off of this.
Sure.
And so I think that's going to do well together, and you get a little pop of black pepper. Compare it with some manchego as well.
Manchego.
Beautiful.
Chef, this does remind me a little bit of a Spanish garnacha.
Completely agree.
Like it's certainly, when we think about those bigger alcohol fruit-driven ones. I mean, there's certainly a million different styles.
A million.
That style is what comes to mind.
I could not agree more. I think it's going to be great, and also, manchegos all over the board. You can have them as young as 90 days age, but most of them, when you got a good one, it's a year or two. And this one certainly is well over a year aged, and so as these, and sheep's milk, so it has a little more character.
Definitely.
With the sheep's milk on this, but as it ages, it's a little fruitier when it's young, but as it ages, it sweetens more like nuts and caramel.
Agreed.
And so, but again, it's not like candy; it's cheese. But it's going to love the fruit of this because when you think of the dark fruits and the almost port-like characteristics of this wine, caramel and nuts immediately pop into your head. So I think it's gonna be a great combination.
I love it, Chef. That's very generous of you. That's a heck of a takeout pack.
I would be well pleased if I popped that open and all these things were waiting for me.
So those of you that are just watching our video just because you want to see what these two guys are talking about, you could be trying these wines and having that delicious food with it. So keep that in mind. If you can do it, we'd love to see you come pick up your packets on Thursdays, and we will take good care of you, I promise. We do a lot of these videos, and we appreciate you watching them. We appreciate you sharing them and telling other people about them, because we're here to share the world of wine to everyone. We think it's important. We make wines at Old North State Winery, but we also promote wines and the culture of wines, really.
The culture of wines. It's very important to human society.
Yeah.
And it's going to do its part to keep us going in this age of detached relationships that are digital.
Yeah.
Wine is going to save us all.
That's right.
Because it's going to keep us in front of, well, please, thank you, Chef. It's going to keep us in front of one another, and it's going to keep us around a table, thank you, where we belong as a race. We belong where we need each other. Our companionship, our friendship, wine is going to keep that going.
Absolutely. We got a couple minutes left. I just want to make one note. We lost one of our biggest fans. Bubba Gelly passed, and he was a huge supporter.
I still can't believe it.
He's a huge supporter of Chris and I over a decade plus of our adventures. He's been just a larger than life influence to us and in our personal life and in our business life. And he is going to be so greatly missed. And he was a huge connoisseur of fine wine.
You talk about one of the best ambassadors of wine.
Yeah, absolutely. Posting almost daily wines on his social media. Every single Friday he would post on restaurant posts for us, trying to help market our adventures here at the chef's table in the restaurant at Old North State, and going back to Old Mill when I was there. I mean, just a great supporter of us. He will be missed. We love Helen, his widow, that we will consider constantly in our thoughts and heart, and as she goes through a tough time. But I know that she's got a new grandkid. She's going to be very busy, and she's going to be great. But we think the world of Helen, and we want to see her as much as possible, otherwise known as Lulu, if you don't know that one. But that was an incredible team, and I hate that they're apart for a little while, but something tells me they'll be back together before you know it. And I want to raise my glass to one of the greats, Mr. Bubba Gelly. We miss you, but we will see you soon.
It's an unimaginable loss that I'm not yet to process. When you have someone like Bubba who's larger than life. Yeah. The contemplation of that life being gone. While we are certainly, we should all be so lucky to have the influence he had on so many people with his smile and his books and
Runner's World magazine
and all these monuments of his life that will endure well beyond all of our lives. We should all be so fortunate, but I mean, damn. Yeah. I mean, this is.
Well, I will.
This is hard to process, but I mean, what a life, what a man, what a privilege it was for us to share a small part of his life that we did, and to be so connected with him. He's going to leave a void that won't be filled.
Yeah, we've got a million stories that we could share, but there's just not enough time on this video to do that. But he's definitely, our hearts are heavy, but his influence will remain in our lives forever. So he is not lost. he's just not here. You know, that's the big difference.
So long for now.
Yeah, that's right. Well, we love you very much out there. We appreciate you listening in as we talk about some of the best wines of the world. I don't want to get lost on that we are here for you all the time. If there's wines that you would like for us to review, just put it in our comments. We'd be happy to try to do that for you. If there's something you were looking for that you didn't have the courage to try yourself, we're happy to do that. Yeah, we're martyrs like that.
I mean, the dedication it has no limit.
we lay down on the sword. All right, until we meet again, we'll catch you next time. We love you, and drink lots of wine. It's good for you.
Cheers.